One more. There you are.
There I am. We are live. There we
There we go. Share.
We are live.
Gina Ann. There you go.
But
Share now.
Shut your story.
No. Share now. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, now go to IG.
Okay, now we're live.
Yes.
We're going to live the IG. There you go.
There. Checking connection.
Okay, we're checking connection. There
we're
go. We're live.
We're live. We're live.
We are live. Let me get all these cables from here.
We're telling your followers that you're live now. Nice.
Yeah, right. Let me see here. Okay. Get this thing out. Hello, everyone. I was going to say almost Shabbat Shalom.
I know, I knew you because it was the same tone. I was going to say that. And I was going to say Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Welcome to Abracadabra. Create what you speak. So, hello, welcome to Abracadabra, Create What You Speak. I'm iLan Azoulai, with me is Gina Ann. Hello, Gina.
Hello.
And this is an empowerment program where we host anybody that is in their gifts, anybody that is in their in their jive, in the grooving, right? Where they're in their gift showing and bringing their gifts to the world. And I'm a spiritual mentor and a sound therapist, work with sound and voice to reclaim your power, manifest your gifts. And Gina is a spiritual counselor and a children's book author, and we'll talk about that. And where you work primarily with children, with kids. And not only, I mean, you're not working only with kids.
It's the inner child. I especially the inner child, so we all have the inner child.
So she's great at bringing out the inner child and all these wonderful gifts that over time and over years we kind of forget about this. You know, it's like a child is the best. It's like a sponge, right? That's why also a child can learn so many languages very easily.
Well, and they're very open and honest, and we all have that. We all have our inner child still within us.
Yeah.
And sometimes we suppress that little inner child because of life experiences. And it's always good to have that inner child and recognize an inner child even through trauma.
Yeah. Especially through trauma, because
that's where it begins.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's amazing.
And the inner child and the child is where we play.
Yeah. Play is good.
Play is awesome.
Play is good. So this frequency is one of the frequencies that affect our brain, where it is where it allows for acceptance, and this is really what I want to talk about today. Mm-hmm. But we'll get to that. So we are here with you in this new location, in this new place. Is actually my studio here.
We're at the Treehouse Studios.
The Treehouse Studios.
So, and I love that you said we're in acceptance, because acceptance can mean many things, right?
Sure, we'll get that.
But we're in acceptance that we are on the road.
Exactly.
We are in this studio, but who knows where our next place will be?
That's right. So we are not in the we moved out of LA Talk Radio, and we're in a new place, and so we're going around. We're feeling the right place, the right jive, right?
Well, and we're taking you along with our adventures, the studio adventures. So this is going to be really exciting whenever we come on every week, every other week, whenever
that's right,
we're here and can be together and share with all of you. And we really want to hear your comments. Thank you. I see you on IG Live TV. So thank you for coming in.
Moi, baby.
If you have anything you want to ask or say, again,
you can write it in the notes. We will get I will get phone numbers if you want to call in later on. But for now, you can write your notes or questions, and I will get that, and we will get that, and we'll be able to respond as we're watching. I mean, I'm looking to see if we have any. Yeah.
So please, any comments? Again, acceptance, really fun. We had to come in acceptance that we're no longer at talk radio, but that's great because we're moving forward and onward. And again, this is a new adventure.
It's exciting.
And this is a lovely studio. It's very homey. Feel very relaxed. So we're bringing you into home studio.
You are coming. You are joining us, and we'll have a we're having an adventure. It's pretty cool actually to start setting up this whole thing and getting the space and feeling the space and arranging the places. So I want to give a credit for the wonderful lady friend who made this abracadabra sign, Lisa Kowski, and she's in Boston. She works with sound as well, and she does wonderful calligraphy. So thank you, Lisa. Right. And
he's displayed my books, Jojo. Thank you.
Your books. And so
little Jojo.
So talking about the inner child, right? Mm-hmm. The inner child, and so this. Where's the first? This is the first one. Book. This is the first book. So talk to us about Jojo.
Well, Jojo, she's my inner child, as you well know, and she's from the galaxy, the Wings of Children, and she.
The JJ Galaxy.
The JoJo Galaxy, the Wings of Children. So, and then of course this is a book dedicated to my daughter. So this is my daughter's inner child, Bobo, and this is my son, Christo.
So these names, Christo is the character in the book.
Yes, and that's right? Dedicated to my son, and Bobo is dedicated to my daughter.
Are these experiences that Christo and Bobo here, do they have experiences that are reflecting their own lives?
Their own lives and our lives and what we've been through together and what we're going to continue to do and play and through trauma that we've all been together. And I was a paraeducator, a special education teacher for over 18 years in the Palos Verdes School District. So I bring all the experiences. I also worked felony court.
Yeah, felony court. Wow. Yeah, now you've seen some stuff there.
So I received a master's in spiritual psychology. So now I'm an intuitive spiritual counselor, therapist, mentor, whatever your language is. It's assisting others. Exactly. And so I do specialize with children and the inner child. I work with men, children, teens, young adults, and assisting them. So very blessed to do what I do. And that's why we do the show. Also, iLan not only does he do sound therapy, but a huge program came out that he did dedicating to Mari Caspi, which I had the pleasure of being in as well. One of his videos, he did a 3-part show, which people are calling a masterpiece. That's a tribute, which is really huge. And even though it's in Hebrew, still the music and the feel is beautiful. I invite you to check it out. He's also going to be translating in English.
So when we translate it to English, so you could enjoy that as well. Mati Caspi is the Sting, Stevie Wonder of Israel. Yeah. Been doing music for over 54 years. And he reshaped the Israeli culture, and not just Israeli music, but brought music from all over the world, Brazil, France. I mean, it was primarily the South American music, and combine it with translations to Hebrew. And so, it was a 3-part tribute to him and to his work and to his music. And this program is going to be translated. And so you can enjoy that in English as well.
Yeah, he's a true legend, but keeps going. Like he hasn't stopped.
It doesn't stop.
That's what's magnanimous about him. Again, I don't speak the language, but you can get the feel of it. You don't need to speak the language because the language and the song and the harmonies, you can feel.
Yeah.
So it's truly, truly beautiful. So I really encourage anyone to check out iLan's YouTube about Mari Caspi, and he did all the editing and showcase and everything.
Well, thank you.
Multi-talented.
All righty. Thank you. So we are here. We have a few. If you have any questions, please go ahead. I will be participating actually tomorrow, Monday, at a new club, a new women's club that is offering healing and healing to the soul and going through different aspects of life and how to manifest things in life. And this is one of the workshops that I give. How do you say? You give, right?
Yeah. What you offer.
Offer. One of the things that I offer is a manifestation workshop and how sound works together actually as an integral part of manifesting what we want, what we choose, and how to be in that place. And here's one of the things, and as we start talking about going to a new studio, and we're in this new studio for now, maybe next time we'll be somewhere else.
We may be somewhere completely different, in a shack, in an alley, who knows?
In a tent.
See, one of my modalities is play. And that's how I
This is
assist
great.
others. Mine is play, and it doesn't mean playing. Oh, you have to go on a swing. It could, but it's cooking. It's writing. It's
It's playing
singing.
music.
It's
It's
dancing for the sake of dancing.
dancing.
It's putting your feet into salt water. It's a lot of things.
It
It's
is.
being
It
grounded.
is.
It's playing. It's touching the
Or just
grass.
sitting in the pool, just with the feet dangling in the
That's
water,
right.
right?
Right. Playing is what your form is playing, and it's one of the most, what I have found through my professional and personal experience, has assisted me and allowed me to process much loss
Mm,
in my
yeah.
family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, because the acceptance, that's just a beautiful word. It means so many things.
Well, it is. I believe that the acceptance is a key to start any process. Before we start any process, acceptance. So if I want to manifest some, let's start with trauma. You're talking about going through things in life, and we're going through things in life, and you experience things in life, and how do we move from one state to another? How do I move from one state to okay, I'm healed now, like after a breakup or after a death or a loss in a family. How do we move from that? Because in the beginning, it feels like it's never going to end. In the beginning there is this, one of the stages of grief is like the denial, right? So
Shock.
the
Huh.
shock. Well, the shock is creating
Hmm.
that you know. I'm trying to find the right place for this thing, but really is the acceptance. And and moving from one stage to the other, moving from a denial to, then let's say, anger, and then let's say
It's depression.
depression.
Hmm.
It's accepting the places that we are, accepting where we are. And when I accept where I am, it acceptance is also tied to the fact that truth has no emotions. Truth, what is, has no emotions. I mean, we are applying the emotions, we're applying the story and giving a flavor to what is happening, right? It's like pain is inevitable, pain will happen, but we can continue or not to choose suffering or moving away from that. I remember I told you, uh, when I was a kid and there was something traumatic that happened, or my parents punished me, or I was pissed, and then I would go to the mirror, right? And and I look at me crying, and I look at me crying, and I look crying, and then out of that thing, I was like, okay, nobody is watching, because I felt like that. Okay, nobody is watching, so I can make funny faces. So I stopped crying, I make funny faces, and look at me, and I continued to cry, and then I was like, "Oh, okay."
You were playing with the emotion.
I was playing with it. It
Yeah.
was releasing. It was creating a different vibe. It was like creating a different vibe, like
Yeah.
like when we came here, down here to the studio here. um we come to the studio down here, it's a completely different vibe,
Different energy and
right?
vibe. Right. Nothing bad or good,
No, it's just
but it
different.
just feels relaxed and more open and more freeing.
It's just
Right.
different. We're entering a new phase, we're entering a new place, so it is, so acceptance, and that goes also for manifestation. So part of the sound, as I started with the Tibetan bowls, just if you're watching it as the first time, or you're watching us the first time and this is the studio, um, I apprenticed with a shaman for about 8 years, from 2009 2010, and then studied sound therapy for several years, and CBT and NLP through a university in Israel, actually. And so, starting with sound, as it is the ultimate medicine for the body and soul, because sound works on all levels. Sound works. Remember when we did
Mhm.
sound work on you, for example.
Yeah.
Here, give me your hand. Give me your hand. So I'm going to put this here.
Okay.
Okay. So you feel that.
All the
You
way
feel that all over,
through.
right?
All the chakras, all the meridians.
Everything. And so,
Ooh.
yeah, right. So
Like,
you don't only hear that with Tibetan balls. I'll talk
you
about
feel
Tibetan
it.
balls later, but you also feel that. So the vibration goes through the body. So the sound is the first tool that I use to kind of crack, to kind of
Open up.
open up,
Yeah.
right? to open up and to release any toxins and release tensions. And I do it in a certain way here on the other side of the studio, which you don't see it. Well, you won't see it today, but you'll see it
Maybe
some
another
another
time.
time.
Yeah.
And then it's really going into this place of understanding where you are, and where you are is accepting. First of all, is acceptance. I don't know if anybody of you watched my Friday talk. And Friday talks, I usually talk about the Torah portion of the week, and how that manifests, and some astrology, and how that manifests in our weekly adventures, or weekly play, or a monthly play. And all this, all what came last week was acceptance. And also the portion of the week is talking where God tells Abraham, go to you, meaning go for yourself, lech lecha. So it's almost like double word go, but the first go is a command, meaning that sometimes, like when we tell children don't do this, the kid doesn't know why we tell them don't do this, but we know that it's for the good for them. And the second lecha, lech lecha, go for yourself, meaning go, and then you will understand that this is really good for you. And this is part of the acceptance, that sometimes to accept where we are. It's not sometimes, but this is really all the time, to accept where we are, so we can move forward, because many times we don't see ahead of the picture. We have this notion
We can create stories of what we think we see, but we don't.
That's right. But don't you have sometimes where you feel like you have to do something or go somewhere, and then you realize, oh, that's why I did that. Do you know what I'm talking
No,
about?
I completely agree. I think acceptance for me is almost like forgiving, and it's not really for the other person or condoning. It's for me, so I can move forward, and that's trusting in myself, and it ties in with communication. I think acceptance is with communication.
Exactly.
You have to have communication with yourself first before you can communicate with others.
Well, it's to admit, it's to accept, it's to admit where we are. It's to admit what is good for me, what is good for us.
Like you said with children, I love how you say, when we say to children, "Don't do this," all they hear is "do this." They say do this. So they, even though they know it's a no, but that's all they hear. But if you reframe and the language, and like, why I don't want you to do this is because you can hurt yourself. But a lot of parents, which I work with parents and adults, is like, don't do this, stop. And it's like, it's that fear base, right?
It is.
Or if you punish, you do discipline, you're like, I'm going to take your phone away, which I did too. But all they're doing is being nice so they can get their phone back. So you want to explain. And this is acceptance of children. Children have to be acceptance as well.
So another thing that you just demonstrated, because I have headphones, so I could hear when it was too loud. It's like when you say don't do that, right, and you raise your voice. So what do they hear? They hear the tonality also,
which is sound.
The sound. So they hear the tonality, and the tonality that is abrasive, that is cutthroat, that is not is not welcoming,
right?
And that is the part of the sound that is. How do we say things? We want to say certain things and to be heard. Right? How many times if you're a couple, you're talking to between you two,
or three or four, whatever your thing is.
But but your tonality is harsh. And that can happen. It's to recognize that. It's to recognize that the sound, and it's all connected. It's like when we've seen this.
Well, those are reactions, right? They think if you get louder, you're going to be heard more, but you're not.
This is the thing in Israel also, by the way. This is the thing in Israel. In Israel.
Well, Italy too, Italians.
Israel, they think that the louder you are, the righter you are.
That's right.
This is like...
But as a teacher, when you're trying to get the attention of the class, sometimes the teacher will get louder. I would go softer. I'm like, here I am. Okay, we're going to start. And I'm telling you, boom. They'd pay attention.
Really? Yeah, that's amazing.
But when you start yelling, then they get louder.
That's amazing.
So it's like reaction. And in a heated argument within coworkers, relationship, family, whatever it is, one speaks louder, the other one does. They try to overdo. And then you're completely lost out of the logical system. And there is no acceptance.
Exactly.
There's no acceptance. It's just me, and I want to be heard. But when you're going back and forth.
Yeah.
And listening, all related to sound.
Well, listening is a big thing. Listening is a big thing because we talk too much. We don't hear. Yeah.
What if we did this whole show in silence? With this nice microphone.
It is nice.
It is nice.
It's wide.
I really like the studio.
It is nice.
I
Thank you.
really
Yeah,
like it. You
I
did.
like it.
It's
I'm
beautiful. I call it the Treehouse
the
Studios
Treehouse Studios.
because there's trees all around. Can't show you, but maybe another time.
Maybe another time we'll show you.
We don't
Yeah.
know. We're going to go on the road. Come with us. Any questions, any thoughts? I'd like to know what you feel acceptance
Yes.
is. And I feel acceptance is really, really tough sometimes
How did you
because
experience? How did you
exactly
experience acceptance? Are
in
you
any fashion.
experiencing it now? This is really a time where things are where energies are really about the acceptance and change. This
Ooh,
month of
big one.
Shvat, October, this
Tough.
is really a lot about shift the energy. I'm going to move it here.
Okay.
The the energies kabbalistically and astrologically, we have a lot of opening. It started last month actually, and so you may feel a lot of movements, a lot of tensions, a lot of connections, relationships that are falling apart or shifting, not necessarily falling apart, but
Opening
shifting,
up.
opening up, happening differently than what you're familiar with, you know. And
Well, what I love about the show and what it opens up in this space because it's just so welcoming is we'd like to know how we can make the show better for you and what we could provide for you. That's why we're here. That's why we're asking for your participation. We want your
we
participation. It's
want
really
it. We,
it's
we
really
can
important.
see
Or
that.
if something is bothering you, this is what we make our living. Soulfully,
Yeah,
heartfully, financially,
playfully.
playfully. So this is an opportunity and we want to hear from you what we can provide. We would like feedback,
Yes.
playback,
So
whatever.
playback is
Playback. Ooh,
good.
yeah,
Playback is
playback.
good.
We'd like
Yeah, playback is
playback.
good.
Really
So
would.
this is all about
Checking Facebook
manifestation.
to see if we have anything.
We have, well, I will see here. I think
Okay,
I
good.
will see here.
Sorry, we're acclimating.
Yeah,
We're
we have a
accepting
lot.
the acclimation. But
Exactly.
we can feel your energy even from here. Like I love when I see a name pop up on IGTV, on Facebook. I'm not connected to my Facebook, but it's being shared on there. So if you're there, go to Alon's, or maybe he'll see it on there.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll see it here.
so
We'll see it here. If you have comments or anything, we'll see it
you
here.
know what just struck me is the acceptance too. Like, are we
Hmm.
open? It's very difficult for me to accept. Um, See, it's even hard for me to say.
Oh wow! Wait. Let
Eh,
me put this
like
on.
compliments or
Okay.
like I get really
This is a
warm
big.
right
This is
now
a
or
big thing.
receiving. It's like I'm really warm. Like my body reacts.
This is a big. This is
Not
a
that I
big.
don't like it
No.
or
This is a big
accepting
thing. I get you.
criticism,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Well, let's talk. We'll talk about criticism, but let's talk about acceptance, and it's also about receiving compliments. And
Mm-hmm.
many times, when we receive compliments, we feel there is this dichotomy kind of thing. It's like, oh, but if I accept this compliment, it means that I'm allowing my ego to pop, right?
It's not being humble,
There's
right?
not being humble or thing, but there is, and there is in the spiritual community or spiritual world, there is the tendency, and I've been to that place. I've been in that place where people have the sense that spirituality means that there is no reciprocation, that there is no, like, when you charge for when you will charge or say this is an offering for a sound session or some kind of an offering that you offer a spiritual work or a spiritual offering. How is the reciprocation being received? And many times there is this, like you described, oh, I have a hard time receiving, because you're looking at that place. But actually, this is part of underestimating. This is part of underestimating really the value, because it's an exchange. The money is a form of an exchange. You could do you could
Spice
receive
freedom.
you could receive anything as a form of an exchange. It doesn't have to be money,
Mm-hmm.
but money has a certain connotation of, and this is the relationship with money, because it's,
Mm-hmm.
aside from a relationship with receiving, it's relationship with money.
Right.
And here is the thing: is except receiving is so important if we want to give. It, we
Mm.
ha- it's crucial to know how to receive so we can give, because our giving then is different. Because think about this: if you're receiving and you're conscious about receiving, and you're like self-conscious about receiving, how do you think when you give compliment to somebody else? How
Right.
does the other
I was
person?
just going to say that because I love to give and I love
Do you feel
so I'm shortchanging someone who wants to
give
give
you?
to me.
Exactly,
So that's
exactly.
oh look, I have my magical red
And she
stone.
has a magical red stone.
Which
For
I'm now selling, which is so because my client,
which is part of JoJo,
Yes,
the
one of
whole
my
register.
clients made the magical red stone with just this acceptance too. The magical red stone represents the beating of her heart or her intuition. And now I can give these to kids and adults, and they
It
really
goes with the
love it.
book.
Yeah,
It goes
it's
with the
actually,
book.
and
That's
it's
great.
carnelian, which doesn't matter what it is. It's just it came to me after I read the book, which is acceptance and
Exactly.
gifts and the inner child and
This is
creativity.
great.
So see, I touched it.
So you
So
see, so when you give somebody and you're thinking about you're shortchanging them giving by
right,
the way of thinking.
right.
So here's the thing. This is something that I found to be very very helpful and correct too. If we look at this, that we are here to give. We are here to give. We are here to give. So and when we're done with this journey, we're out of here. We don't take anything. I mean, this mic, as nice as it is, doesn't go with me anywhere.
I
I
might
mean,
take it with me.
where are you going to shove it?
I don't know. Wherever I'm going, it's nice.
So here's the thing: if everything that we receive, and when we say pass it forward, and we're passing it forward, then how about when you receive, you first of all say thank God, and then thank you. So first of all, thank God because it comes to me from the universe, from
Mhm.
God, whatever you want to say, but you're not putting yourself first as the egoic self. Thank you for sending this to me, and thank you, the person
Right.
who gave me, who gifted me, or exchanged, or gave me. So I am acknowledging both, but not on the expense of an egoic trip or
Right.
something.
Well, the exchange of words, the exchange of services. So we're here because we want to give,
Exactly.
but we want to hear from you as well. Hi, Lou. Lou's on IGTV.
There's Lou
Hi.
on the IGTV.
Yes.
Hello, Lou.
Hello. So, I want to acknowledge. So I appreciate everybody that comes on and listens, and we want to hear from you. And
You know what Lou means in Hebrew? The name Lou, because there's
yeah.
Lou is if only,
See, if only. What a great message.
if only,
If only.
if only.
What does
Yeah.
ilan mean?
Ilan is a tall tree. It's
Ah.
actually a tall young tree.
Oh, no wonder you're in the Treehouse
Oh,
Studios.
there you go.
What's Gina? Oh boy, you
You don't
took a
want to know.
breath. Wait, he took a breath. He took a deep breath on that. Wait a minute. I see. I'm touching
well,
I'm rubbing my magical stone.
well, well, Gina. There's not really Gina except for a name. But if you take the apostrophe, because it's a G, but you have to put an apostrophe so it'll be
Okay.
G. If it's not a G, it's a Gi.
Aggie.
So a Gina is a garden.
I love people in my garden.
There you go.
I like to grow my garden
There you go.
with this microphone. I love this
I
microphone.
wonder what will come out of this microphone.
I don't know.
At the end, it'll open like
Exactly. Some petals. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Lou
Who's
has a
that?
question. What if you could live without the need for acceptance? Good question.
Without the need for acceptance.
Well, if we don't accept, that's a good question.
No, but she's not. But she's not talking about acceptance. She's talking about the need of acceptance.
Yeah, the need.
You know, when I said needing to accept, it is not like something that you have to do. It's not a directive. It is a step. For example, from if you are in the first grade, you cannot jump right away to the eighth grade, right? It is something that it's a process. So it's like cooking. Okay, cooking. You have to prepare certain things in order to make. It's a potential. It's the example that I give also about potential, that we are all here in a potential form. Uh, just like God put the barley here, it's a potential to make beer. You can't just take barley and drink it. You have to go through a process.
Well,
So acceptance is also a stage.
it's also a want, a need and a want, because I feel like if you're
I,
stuck in a situation and you could be acceptance in the stuck situation, but if you want to move forward, this is my belief system and what's I've used throughout my life is, okay, this is the way it is right now. How do I want it to be? I have to accept what is right now.
and what
Okay.
happens when you accept?
Then it frees me
You
because
release.
we're really, it's
Exactly.
like, I
You
can take a
release.
breath and it's like,
Yeah.
and it's not faking accepting. It's kind of like when we say the mantras, I am this, I am that. But if you don't believe it, it's not going anywhere.
It's like when you sell something. I've
Yeah.
been.
And I said, I sell this. And that really took a lot for me to sell it. You know why? I used to give everything away.
That's right.
And what am I giving myself and my family if I don't value what means the most to me? It's not about the money. Of course, it's about the money. We have to make a living. We pay bills, but it buys freedom.
But
It
here is
gets us
another.
closer.
That's right. That's right. Here's another thing. When you give something for free, forget you for a second now. What happens at the other end? When you give something for free, many times, the human tendency.
They accept it.
No, but what happens many times? It's not as valued because
Right.
you don't invest from you. So you see, so it's a play, right? It's always a play. We're always dancing. This is what in the spiritual work I always call it dancing. We're dancing. Dance me to
Well,
the
and this
ring.
is where
Right?
everyone has a belief, not everyone, but the work that I've been doing for many years, even with children, they think spirituality is serious. And so we brought a good point. We were trying to say, what is this? Spirituality is playing.
Playing
Playing is neuroscience. I say this every probably show, everywhere I'm
every
at.
time.
I love when neuroscience procreates with
No,
the woo-woo.
spirituality. Yeah,
It
it
is playing.
is.
Playing is part of the
Is
neuroscience. It
key.
changes the brain chemistry. You have to get out, dance, walk on the grass, put your feet in the water. Again, cooking, like family cooking. Children love it. You give them their own pizza dough or whatever, and you let them create all their food. It doesn't matter if the pizza dough is diagonal or
Exactly.
square,
Exactly.
and it tastes better to them, and it's a family bonding.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
You know what is in the Torah and in many places in the Scripture, it says to the kingdom, to heaven, or to don't go to the heaven or whatever, but to the next level in purity, you come as children.
mm,
As children, you'll be able to know what is as children, released from any pre-existing
boundaries.
conditions,
Yeah. Oops,
boundaries,
sorry, I
and
scratched you.
yeah, you screw out.
Sorry.
Yeah, releasing from any boundaries, from any filters. Because look at child as a child, he goes into a puddle, he jumps into the puddle. He doesn't care if he dirties his pants.
Not until his mother
That is
says,
my
"Your
ass.
pants are dirty."
So
No,
it's
just kidding.
children. So we have the acceptance, we have the release. And back to you, Lou. Question:
Back to
What?
you, Lou.
Back to you, Lou. Back to you, Lou. Dun, dun, dun. Right.
Okay.
So, if I may rephrase that question, it's not. It's if we go into acceptance naturally, because when you say the word need, it's like I'm in this state now. I have to change to here. Yes, we are adults and we're going through a lot of traumas and things in life, and to get to one stage, we really need to go through a certain process. But as children, if we are going and playing is a great beginning
Mm,
starting point to release. To I know it did with me, and Gina helped me a lot in that,
yeah.
in connecting
Mhm.
back to the inner child. Is not give a about what people think, right?
That's right. We
and,
care what
and
people
you care
think.
what people think, but not to the point where it limits me,
Suppresses you.
suppresses me to express. So that gives me even a better tool, because now where I'm not confined to my own movies in my head, where
Mm,
the actor dies at the end, I'm allowed.
that's good.
uh, it pushes me to say and to be how I wish to be and want to be, with the consideration of others. So it doesn't have to be rude, don't have to be nasty, don't have to be any of that stuff, because that doesn't bring to unity, because our power is in our unity, but it is actually giving me another tool to how am I with the one in front of me. Now we're human
Even if
being,
it's you in the mirror.
even it's me in the mirror.
That was good.
Ah, man.
The one in front of
The
you.
one in front of me, man.
I was thinking when you were
When was the
saying
last
this
time you looked at the mirror?
today, because
Oh,
I had
yeah.
to make sure I was okay on camera with my hips. See, that's where I'm hiding behind this.
No, you know.
Yeah, it's all about the hips. Woo. So I was thinking when you were talking about this, that, as children, we're like this. But think about, and you said we can't take anything with us. But I believe we come in with all the answers as children.
Yeah,
If I were to ask a newborn, and that's why they cry. That's their way to communicate. I never let my children cry, because why would I? Like, I wanted their needs and wants met. And so later on, I feel if their needs and wants, it wasn't spoiling. But we do gain more wisdom as we get older. But don't we kind of go back to children as we're older?
we do
And
actually.
so,
We
but
do
we
actually.
have different sets of wisdom. I believe children are the most evolved.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why I don't want to lose touch with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And growing up in our families, which, within our families, we all have our own dynamic. I'm very blessed for my family. And if they're watching, I know my brother Michael watches, which I really appreciate. And,
Hola.
or ciao or whatever. And it's really nice for that support. That's that inner child wanting that acceptance. And perhaps we didn't get that as children,
Yeah.
or maybe from my perspective, I felt I didn't receive that. But from
You
another's
didn't receive you
perspective,
didn't
the
receive the
value or
value
the of what I thought my value was,
yeah,
or
because
my
they
importance.
put they shun you down.
Well, yeah, who's the fourth smartest? I have three brothers, and yeah, they were saying me, and I was like, okay.
Oh,
So it put a seed. All the stories of,
the stories that
so I
I
had to
heard, yeah.
overachieve, overachieve, overachieve.
And to go
Yeah,
beyond
be
that.
like exactly honor society, all district, boom, boom, boom. But it served me well.
But
But I always was in play,
you always were playing, right?
always.
And because you did not go through, what I see is that you did not go through that stage of losing yourself and coming back.
Right.
You kind of kept. Now I'm sure. Look, you have patterns. Everybody has patterns
Mm-hmm.
that we pick up through our lives. I mean, but what I feel with you is, first of all, completely light, and you stayed with that a silver lining, so to speak,
Yeah.
the childhood silver lining.
Well, I had to break apart. I had to break completely apart, and because of it was a very I was married very young, a virgin. Yep. Michael relay this to my mom because he knows anyway, and rocking Vinny. I don't know if they're watching, but the marriage was not the most conducive. It was very.
It wasn't marriageable.
It was very abusive,
I see.
and I don't like to say laundry. I was taught you don't spread your laundry, but just for the sake of relatability, and um, so I had to break apart like JoJo's wings. That's why her wings are mosaic. I had to put every piece
Yeah.
back together because within the marriage there were other things. My father passing away, and my children taking the trauma in different directions. But I stood. What I did is I did play. I always played with my kids, even in through it, and my children and I were a unit, and are a unit, and still are, and will forever be wherever we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And my greatest creativity, my greatest lesson, I feel like I knew I was going to be a mother at 12.
Yeah.
See,
Coco agrees.
Coco agrees. Are my children. I feel like everything
Ah,
else has been frosting,
yeah. Yeah. Wow.
and whatever goes from here, goes from here.
Yeah.
And my family means everything to me. And my family's not only who is blood.
That's right. It is
It
the
is who
connections
I
that you
bring
make.
in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you're right in the acceptance, and the fact that past month has been very heavy. October and November are very heavy months for
But
my
because there's a lot
family.
of shift also. I mean,
A
there's
lot
a
of shift.
lot of shift going on.
Right. So acceptance is a great word. And acceptance is accepting who I am at this place, accepting who you are at this place, who we are at this place, who they are at this place.
Yeah.
It's a great, great topic. And I really just want to say how grateful I am for you, and
I'm grateful
inviting
for
me
you. Thank you.
always, inviting me to your show, and accepting me for who I am. All the
Absolutely.
layers,
All
all
the
the
way.
personalities.
I've
Gina, Gina, and da, 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 da.
well, I mean, you accept all my 13.
Yeah,
I mean, I have 13.
I do. I like 13. 13's a very lucky number for me.
Yeah.
I love 13.
And so, going with 13 is a good number, actually.
I like it.
13 is a bar mitzvah. Is when you in Judaism is where you go, like the rite of passage kind of thing.
13 is that where you
Rite of
get
passage.
cut on your foreskin?
No, that's
Oh,
8
sorry.
days. No,
sorry.
no,
I don't know.
Ouch.
They're out. Wait, this is the 13th day. Let's cut. Like this microphone. Sorry.
I have the headphones.
So I'm loud. Sorry. 13 is lucky for Italian too. That's why the horseshoe.
Oh, I see.
I've always
We're
liked 13.
talking about
We're totally going off in tangents.
No. We're
Abracadabra.
Exactly. Create what you speak. Abracadabra, by the way,
Let me see
to
if
those
there's
who
anything.
I can see here, actually.
Okay.
Should
Oh,
be.
okay.
So,
I think you said that before.
Yeah, I think I said it.
I just
before.
want to make sure we don't ignore anybody.
No. If we are ignoring,
Speak up.
say I'm being ignored.
Exactly. And we'll accept that.
We'll accept that and move on.
Oh, wait, just in front of me.
Oh.
Also, iLan does these high teas. I did a sound session with him. Well, I've done many now, which has been so helpful on all levels. But he has this high tea. Explain what it is, because I can't explain it like you do. But he gave me this tea. Ooh, and I went off into La La Land. No, I didn't.
Well, the one that you got was very potent.
Very potent, yeah.
Yes.
And I'm a lightweight.
So
It was high tea.
it is, yeah.
No, it's
So
not.
it's high tea, HI. Let me put this here.
Love it.
See this.
Yeah.
So
Oh, look how pretty.
and this here. And
Okay.
so I make these teas all from herbs and plants that I put together. It's a heart opener, a body presence, different chakras activation. There are different three kinds of tea. There is open heart, which is primarily focusing on opening your heart. And what does that mean is giving you that feeling of expansion, this feeling of warmth. The other one is love sanity, which is also an open heart, but it also works on your sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is the second chakra from the bottom. It focuses on your creativity, your sexuality, your desires, really bringing you here to giving you a creative juice. And the third one is breathe easy, and that really works on your respiratory systems.
Oh, that's
So this
really
is good for your respiratory system. Now there are different
what a
plants.
perfect timing in this
It's
world
perfect
of
timing.
COVID and everything where it affects your lungs.
Exactly. So the plants that are in here, I can say part of them is sassafras, is hawthorn, is blue lotus, and I'm drawing blank now.
That's okay.
But,
Well, it's on his website.
but it's all there. We have some cinnamon, which is wonderful for memory, and
Heart too.
and heart. And so hawthorn I have sassafras, and I have with Breathe Easy, there is mullein. And mullein is a plant that is very important and very crucial for clearing up your respiratory systems. Coupled with that, this goes before each session, half an hour before each session, and then you go into the session. And after the sound, we also have a talk, and we go through talk therapy and using voice and using frequencies to dive into these places that really bring you into this self-connection. And so thank you for bringing this up.
No, I think it's important. We want to share, like we said, this is why you have the show. Share your gift. You all have a voice. We'd like to hear your voice. We'd like to hear what you can offer.
What is
for
acceptance for you? I mean, you can write in the notes and we can answer in the next program. And
we'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you. What I wanted to share is actually, you're talking about how when we get older, we go back to kind of being a kid. But and what happens is, for example, I'll talk about my mom a little bit because my dad passed away a couple of years ago, and one of the things that happened with my mom is that she went. Now here's the thing: my mom got engaged when she was 12. It was accepted back in that time. Acceptance, right? Accepted. Was accepted back at this time. And around 14 and a half or 15, she had my oldest brother. And we're 5 kids and so forth. But here's the thing. So when my dad was, that was kind of showing signs of retiring from this world, my mom started drifting back to being in that age. And what that means, it's not necessarily, and I found it also. I used to take care of elder people when I was in Israel. I used to like a geriatric service. Is that right? I used to do that. And what I noticed is that what goes back to be the childish mind, it's not childlike.
It wasn't regression. It was
going back to the patterns of the fear, of the no wanting, of the refusal, of the defiance.
Not accepting.
Not accepting. So it depends, because when we're old, I mean, think about this. We have all these years of patterns and everything.
Belief
systems, whatever. My mom now is very ultra. I mean, my mom is ultra orthodox religious. They became ultra orthodox religious when I was 14.
And how did you accept that?
I mean, that you're accept that.
Okay,
I
interesting.
did not accept that.
And why didn't you accept it?
Because I was at the age of 10, I got introduced to Mati Caspi, to that singer, and I started playing guitar when I was 10, and I was part of the singing groups, and I was in this bohemian lifestyle, and in the groups and the singing, and suddenly my parents became ultra orthodox religious, and that did not sit well with me. That was like, from watching TV Saturday night or Friday night to praying 3 times a day, no TV on
Oh,
Saturday, no
and
this, no that.
14 years old too.
14 years old. It was just
Wow.
after my bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
It was really, and that toppled on the traumas that I went before when I was very young. To add that, I didn't come to wrap myself around myself, and
So
now I'm
yeah.
already have to change
So it became
my
layered.
very layered,
Layered,
very
yeah.
very layered, very layered. So over the years, so it just
Of
right.
course.
And so when we have all these accumulation of mind mind
Yeah.
yeah um,
Mind clusters,
mind clusters
fluckers.
yeah mind
I don't
fracking
think any children are watching. It's
mind
okay.
fracking.
Mind fracking.
It's like in that series. What
Yeah.
was that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
Or
It was a
whatever.
spaceship series. Instead
Yeah.
of saying the word, they said frack, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. Which means the same thing. I could say cake you and it means the same thing. But whatever.
So yeah. So what I'm saying is that after all these layers, going back, let's say you're 80 and now you're reverting into being a child. From my experience, it is not. If you didn't do the work throughout your life, it is not the healthy child experience.
It's the regression
It's the
then.
regression
Okay.
one.
It's not the
It's going
evolvement.
no. It's going
Right.
back to your patterns and your fears. So your fears are being accentuated, and now you're applying the 12-year-old or the 10-year-old um, development stages. Like at that age, you are
Mhm.
defying, you're testing your boundaries. So you're
Right.
defying everything. You don't want to accept. You're in denial, right? So some people will just never accept that they're wrong. So also when they're older and they're going through this regression, it'll be even worse.
Well, she was with your dad for how many years?
67 years.
67 years. That is
That I
huge.
cannot even
You
imagine. I
have,
cannot even
the comprehend.
fathom that
So
idea.
that's also a coping mechanism. And it's a very quote unquote normal coping mechanism to retreat backwards. So we
Exactly.
either, we either through trauma, we either go to the galactic or we go to the other side.
Exactly.
And what I mean by galactic, we go into the atmosphere of evolvement
Yes.
and
Yes.
going into another world.
But that's not an overnight. When people
Oh,
come to me and
no.
tell me, I work with different herbs and different plants for different ways of healing, and people come and say they expect that boom, you take a pill and or you
Right.
take a sound session and now I'm healed.
Right.
If you go through 40, 50 years of traumas and it's not an overnight. But what I can tell you is that the work they're doing with herbs and plants and sound, in one night or in two sessions, or is it an overday or an overnight or two retreats, you pack in 5 years of talk therapy, and because there is so much. And when we do sessions together for couples and for individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So this is you're getting the female and the male and the child and the childlike perspective to work in this capacity to release as many perceptions and belief systems about something at the same time. And I always say the journey is always after the journey,
After the journey,
right?
yeah.
So when you're in a journey, when you are in a place of journeying and place of working on healing on so many levels, and manifesting, because to manifest is really being in that space, believing, accepting, believing where you are. To go through that, you are a sponge during that journey. When you are
Because you're present, right?
because you're present, because you're think about a movie. You're going to a movie the first time, and how many times do you see details that you haven't seen in the first time if you watch the movie the
Oh,
second time
right.
and third time, right?
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same
Oh, great
thing.
analogy of healing. I'm
I
gonna
love this.
use that, and I'm gonna quote him. No, because it is true. Because people do want the magic potion, and people will ask me. Now, we do know people that I've known people that says, "Oh, it's going to be $10,000, and you need 20 sessions." No, I feel when people want to come back, they come back.
Exactly.
But it's really interesting because you usually work solely, and I work solely, but individually. But when we've done it collectively, it really is magic.
Really magic.
It's magic, and that's why we're here.
And so
One of the reasons.
One of the reasons.
One of the reasons.
So when you are when you are in the journey and you're going through this, you're absorbing. You're like a dry sponge that you take into the shower, okay, or you take into a bathtub. Before you put it soak it in the bathtub, it's dry. When you soak it in the bathtub, what happens? The water is all around you and in you, right?
Mm.
So it's in you and all around you, and that's what happens after the journey, after a workshop. You are in a place where, okay, this happened, you're absorbing. I'm this kind of a person. In everything something happens, many times I may find myself like a deer in front of a headlight. It's like, like that. And but then it processes,
Mhm.
and sometimes, you have to be fast. Sometimes you have to be fast, but when it's this critical or crucial matter, it goes in, and then within the week or within a few days, you start absorbing. And the absorption manifests itself in the way that you think, in the way that you respond, not react.
Well,
Right?
it's like the healing of a wound. You get a scratch, the initial hurts,
Yes.
then you form there, and then it itches, and then it heals, and then there's a scar, which I love scars.
So
That's God's
scar.
God's tattoos.
So
That's
this
what I
is
call
great. So
scars.
scar is the way that your wound heals. Because
Yes.
if you scratch the wound,
It
it's
gets
going
produces a bigger
bigger
scar.
scar,
So if
right?
you exactly, but if you let it heal, but sometimes it does scratch, and I love the journey after it's a journey, because it is really how we process it after, and where we want to go from there, and how we want to accept it. So when I do a healing session with someone, or when you do a healing session, or we do it together, when we're in this, what I call this spiritual vortex, and this healing vortex,
The zone.
the energy zone,
The zone.
what my intention is when we come out of this, that you carry it to your real life, which this is really the reality. But because sometimes we're in this, and then we go out and I'm like, oh, the traffic. But we want you to keep that beautiful bubble and cloud
Oh,
with you.
love to the world.
Yeah, right. He cut in front of me, asshole. But I mean within yourself. That's where you have to have the self-communication, is because I've done healing sessions, then I go out and I'm like, oh, then I have to pay bills. I have to do
Yeah.
So gotta take out the trash.
Yeah. So
That is kind of like taking out the trash, healing.
it is.
Yeah.
And what happens? When we are. This is an analogy of that people are like. Some of us do. I mean, not you. No,
What?
not. Some of
What?
we're like trash cans, right? Some people are like trash cans. Where some
Recycling.
where
I'm a
you
recycler.
we're like use the same trash
Yeah, why
without the
not?
smell.
No compost.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
like the smell.
So, but what happens is, like, when you meet somebody and you see somebody on the street, and suddenly out of nowhere they just lash out at you, right? It's many times it's like this accumulation. So it's like the trash truck comes once a week, and so they accumulate. Why am I looking there? When we accumulate.
He's the one that always tells me to look at the camera.
No, I'm looking at the light. I'm like,
Go to the light.
uh, they accumulate, and then something triggers, and when it triggers, boom, everything comes out. So it is also important to pay attention to that when somebody is just out of nowhere. You go to somebody, or you're in the store, or you're just walking down the street, and suddenly they are like lashing at you, and just like going crazy
Well,
at you.
everybody has a different perception of you.
That's true.
Everyone we meet, family,
That's true.
non-family, people on the street, they have a different version of
There
you.
is one of the steps in a tarot reading is what a card, and I think it's the seventh card. What people think of you.
Right.
It's a classic spread. What
Yeah.
people think of you. Does it matter?
Does it matter? Yeah, it only matters if it matters to you.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing.
Well, like
Go
that
ahead.
person that lashes out at you, you could either be upset over that, or like, okay, that's their story.
Well, I
Doesn't
mean,
mean it still feels good.
but here is the thing. If a person lashes at you because you said something or did something, yeah, most likely, in the situations that I can think about, it comes from them. But there is at least 1% that is right on this side, that is right from their perception. There is at least, because it always
You
takes
mean
two to
like a
tango.
mirroring? Oh, absolutely.
We're
So like a
always
mirroring of
mirror. We're
triggers.
always
Yeah.
mirror and triggers.
Hi, Terry. It's my cousin.
Oh, hello, Terry. And so there's always a trigger. There is always a mirror. So there is at least 1% truth in the other side.
Sure. It's
There
like a
is at
joke.
least.
There's always a
There's
percentage.
when you say a joke and say, "Oh, I'm just joking," so
There's a little bit
there's
of underlying
1%,
truth.
at
Yeah.
least 1% there. So there is the acceptance of that. So when somebody lashes at you, say, okay, well, maybe the reaction, just like the tone of the voice that I'm using with children, is maybe too harsh. Maybe that person used a harsher tone, like that email that we remember we had. Yeah.
Right. We had a
Uh,
meeting.
and no need to say that, but right, there was a tone. There was a certain tone.
Mhm.
Was there at least 1% truth there? Maybe so, and there was 1%. But
Aloha.
aloha.
She lives in Hawaii.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And my cousin Danya.
Oh wow. So accepting is exactly. Coco
And we're
re-agrees.
almost accepting
We're
the end of
we're
the
accepting the
show.
end of this
So
show. Wow, man,
that went by
that was
fast
my
in the
fast.
Treehouse Studios.
So, well, yeah, acceptance is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll talk about next week. Next week we won't have a show. We will have I'll have a different show with an Israeli musician, Galit McCord. She just took out a new single, a new album, and I think we will come up after that. After that, like in a couple of weeks.
And,
But
and if you're seeking assistance or would like further
you can
assistance or further question, reach
reach
us.
us
We're
both personally.
available for sessions, Zoom,
Zoom, by the
FaceTime.
way, people ask me how sound works in Zoom. Sound works actually not as it's frontal. I do take frontal clients, limited, but sound works as well. I have a setup uh, that picks up the most possible frequencies from my end to transfer to your end. Not using just a phone mic, because that cuts so many frequencies, and so it's important. And then there is certain direction that I instruct you or
Yeah.
advise you how to be in. And so sound session
Yeah,
over
in
Zoom
person is great.
is always
Is
great.
always great, but so that's always available sometimes if it's the schedule.
And so you can reach Gina on her uh, Instagram. What is it? Gigi?
Jojo by Gigi
Jojo by Gigi.
or Gina Ann, author.com,
G-
or on here,
on
or
Facebook.
DM me, PM me, AM me, ZM me. I don't know all the
SMU.
no S and M me.
I didn't say it. No,
Oh,
that's
that's
SMU.
how.
And
This is what the show is live.
and you can reach me on bodysoulsound.com, on Facebook on Body Soul Sound, on my Facebook here, my name iLan Azoulai. Wow,
Thank you.
thank you. It's been a great to do this. This is the first time it's on the road.
We're on the road.
Thank you everybody for being here.
Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments.
Your questions. Also, if you just thought about that, and thank you, Lou, thank you if only, Lou.
Yeah.
For your question. That was a great contribution. And Abracadabra, create what you speak. Abracadabra is in Aramaic, and it means literally I create as I speak. And creating as we speak is our words and the intention behind the words. This is the fuel of the words. We'll talk about this another time. So, with that said, on jette piton, les gens se...
Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And then live.